While not as obnoxious as Jeep people or a boomer wet dream like a Corvette, Porsche 911 enthusiasts are admittedly some of the worst, which is part of the reason why, before this video, only my immediate family and a handful of my best friends knew that I bought a Porsche 911 back in February. I was ashamed. I'm ashamed of being ashamed. Even saying Porsche instead of Porsche just makes me feel like an asshole unless I'm negotiating a business transaction with a day shift dancer named Porsche. But after I learned that this is how Porsche itself says its name is pronounced,
Porsche. Porsche.
I embraced my sanctimonious ascot-wearing dickbag inner self because I get pissed when someone calls me James Reeves. I wanted a very specific Porsche 911 for a long time, an ROW 911 made from 1994 to 1998, known as the 993 generation of 911. But why? The 993 is the end of an era. It's like the Diamond David Lee Roth Van Halen versus shitty and weird Sammy Hagar Van Halen. There are 5 reasons why I specifically bought a 993, and that's what I'm talking about today. By the way, there's a video from the Porsche Owners of America that's this 2-hour deep dive into the 993. One of the best videos I've ever seen on YouTube. I watched the whole thing start to finish like it was Return of the King. Great video, must watch if you're planning on buying one. I can't emphasize that enough. First, it is objective fact that the 993 is the most gorgeous 911 ever made, top 5 most beautiful cars ever made. I think the 964 is a gorgeous car too, the prior generation, but most people don't think the Don Corleone lit bumper did the 964 any favors aesthetically. The front got cleaned up with the blockier bumper removed when they hit the 993. If you get an ROW or rest of world model like I got, then you don't have these bucktooth bumperettes that were required on the US model 993s either. The 993 exterior was overhauled and featured a smoother, more aerodynamic body that not only cuts through the air, but it sits wider, which means better stability. And as Al Pacino said in one of my most favorite movies of all time,
She got a great ass!
Yeah, I call her Helga Lopez because this German has the best rear end of any vehicle ever built. Inside, the 993 didn't just improve, it excelled. Better noise insulation and upgraded interior, enhanced comfort features, made the 993 extremely cozy to drive. Sitting inside of it feels like you're wearing a Snuggie to the country club. Upscale, but cozy. No later 911 would capture the allure of the last of the air-cooled legends, and by far the sexiest. The 996 that followed, that's when the 911 became modern. This was the first ever major restyle, and it was justifiably reviled. The 996 is the chick from the Queen's Gambit. Still looks great, kind of hot, but there's something off about it. Maybe that's why in 2004, the 6th generation 911, known as the 997, retreated to a more traditional appearance. So, reason number 1, best looking car ever. Reason number 2, the 993 was the end of an era and is truly a classic car with a very limited run. The 993 is the last of the air-cooled 911s. Why does that matter? Air cooling, part of Porsche's soul, a design choice that dates back to the earliest 911. It's not just about tradition though. Air-cooled engines have fewer parts than water-cooled engines, meaning less can go wrong. They're lighter and they offer a purer driving experience. That last part's probably bullshit, but it is what people say, purer driving experience. By virtue of being the last, the 993 is the most advanced air-cooled Porsche 911. It's the bridge between the old school and the modern era of sports cars, a symbol of why sometimes the old ways are the best. It's why the 993 isn't just loved, it's revered. Related to that, reason number 3, unlike buying a new 992 that'll depreciate by the cost of a brand new 4Runner as soon as you drive it off the lot, I think the 993 is a great investment indeed. According to this article I found from the Classic Valuer, 993 prices have shot up over 70% in just the past 3 years. The prevailing theory is that collective white-collar executive panic set in when people realized that the 911 they loved in the 90s was 3 decades old and, gasp, now a classic car. Makes you feel old as shit, doesn't it? Moving past the denial phase, Cars got snapped up by children of the 80s and 90s that bought 911 posters from the school book sale back in the day and now make enough money to buy the car hanging on the wall next to their Cindy Crawford posters in 4th grade. Side note, Christy Brinkley dudes can get f***ed, and that includes you, Billy Joel, because I know you're watching this to look for another car to smash into a house after a bender. Look at the 993 price graph from Bring a Trailer as well. This sudden uptick in pricing certainly made me legitimately hyperventilate, as I felt like the music was about to stop, the prices were going to go up, and my ass wasn't in a 993 chair. I bid on several of them over the course of a little over a year before I finally got this Polar Silver Coupe from Japan. To me, the 993 is like the Rolex Submariner of 911s. You could buy one, you can use it, you can enjoy it. If you hold on to it for a few years, it'll probably still be worth more than you paid for it. Plus, it's better looking than the newer, more expensive models. Also, I imported mine through Bulldog Auto Japan. It came from Japan. Bulldog Auto, by the way, highly recommend them. They're the Porsche experts. Aaron, the owner, he knows everything about them. With the yen being at a 30-year low against the dollar, I managed to snag this car and saved maybe 5 figures. Further, Japanese car owners, renowned for their meticulous care of their vehicles. This cultural norm means that cars from Japan, they're usually in better condition than similar age cars from the US. Japan also has a stringent vehicle inspection system that ensures cars are well maintained. Plus, they're not really having children over there anymore in Japan, so there's not like some 3-year-old monster in the back seat grinding goldfish crumbs into the carpet and squirting Go-Gurt all over your full-grain Napa. Number 3, I think it's a good investment as far as sports cars go. Yeah, but what about those maintenance costs? Number 4, reason number 4, related to almost all of the above. This car's still practical. The 993 has a reputation for being one of the most reliable in the 911 series. I see them all the time at auction with 200,000 miles, still in great shape. Compared to its descendants, the 993's air-cooled engine is simpler. There's less that can go wrong with it, as I mentioned earlier. The shift from air-cooled to water-cooled engines in the 911 series, starting with the 996 in 1998, introduced more complexity, additional parts due to the cooling system. The change was made to meet stricter emission standards, specifically in the US. Many Porsche enthusiasts see the 993 as less of a headache than the newer models because the more mechanical nature of the 993 engine means less dependency on complicated electronics and computer systems, which can be a costly pain in the ass to fix. But compared to its predecessors, Porsche refined their air-cooled engines by the time they got to the 993, making them robust enough to handle daily driving without the looming threat of a breakdown. Again, this is the bridge, right? The last and most advanced air-cooled engine. The 964 is a great car, but it had notorious issues like electrical gremlins. 964s leak more oil than the Deepwater Horizon. Less of an issue with the 993. It's not just a pretty face, it's built like a tank, like an aluminum tank, I guess, because the 993 had an aluminum subframe that reduced weight, and it's also a car that isn't plagued by rust problems like some earlier 911s. You still have to check a few places for rust. Watch that Porsche 993 deep dive video that I mentioned earlier. While no classic car comes without the need for costly TLC, the 993 is about as hassle-free as it gets for a vintage sports car. Oh, God, I want to throw up calling a car from the late 90s vintage. The 993 is surprisingly simple, plenty of parts and resources out there to look at. I actually replaced my rear light bar myself. On mine, it only took me about an hour with an Allen key and a Phillips head screwdriver. Compare that to the new 992 owned by my buddy Jason, and this is ridiculous. This looks like you opened a PC case or something. So ridiculous. I bet you if you used gas station washer fluid in your brand new 992's washer reservoir and you're voiding the warranty on that son of a bitch, the 993, a Porsche, you can actually drive without needing a mechanic on retainer. Number 5 kind of dovetails neatly with all the other points that I've made about practicality. It's similar to what I love about my 70 series Land Cruiser Prado. It's got classic looks but modern conveniences. The 993 combines that traditional Porsche aesthetic with perks of modern technology like functioning air conditioning that actually keeps the cabin cool, ABS that keeps you from rear-ending the car in front of you while you're checking TikTok, and a ride quality that is leagues above its predecessors. It retains classic 911 styling, but only shares about 20% of its components with the prior generation 964. The 993 got that new aluminum subframe, new aluminum multi-link rear suspension, and a refined version of Porsche's flat six boxer engine, among other upgrades. The interior of the 993 is beautiful. Again, a classic look, leveled up with better materials from the prior generation, more ergonomic controls, along with improved noise, vibration, and harshness levels, known as NVH levels. It's actually a thing. Point being, you're driving a car that looks like it belongs on a vintage poster, but it rides like the best of today's machines. And the car has more soul than a 991 or a 992. When I was filming with my buddy Jason, both of our camera guys had to admit the 993 was by far the best looking car, because it is.
What do you think, Adam? Which one's better? Come on.
I would take that one every day.
Oh, yeah.
By far. Yeah. Actually, I've sent this video. I sent the photo of the still to several friends. Many people have said I take the one on the right.
Yeah. Just be honest with me, Felix.
It's a little better.
It is better. It is.
It's a little better. And it's blue.
Yeah. What do you think, Jason? Which one's better?
992. 1,000%.
1,000%?
1,000%.
That's 100% like 10 times.
I know. That's
You're that sure?
That's how sure I am. Yeah.
Jason, dude, I forgot one thing.
The horn.
My horn beats your horn's ass. The Porsche 993 is the bridge between the classic and the contemporary, arguably, maybe not really arguably, the most beautiful Porsche ever built, with its timeless design, its air-cooled charm. The 993 offers the best of both worlds, modern enough to be a daily driver, handle your daily demands while still sporting the traditional 911 silhouette. The 993 is a fraction of the cost of a new 992 or a 991, but it packs way more style and character in every curve. But James, the 991 and the 992 are really fast cars, and I want a really fast car. That's all well and good. Unfortunately, speed and acceleration have been democratized. You've got a Tesla owner who's probably going to be able to smoke you off the line with a car that costs $40,000, so I wouldn't fret all that much about that. And it's not just getting into a Porsche for less money, although that's really a nice perk. It's about investing in a piece of automotive history. So if you are considering a Porsche 911 993, remember this. While all 911s are beautiful, incredible machines, the 993 offers a purity and a heritage that matches its practicality and reliability. It's a car that will turn heads and drive well without a massive price tag or extremely costly maintenance. Thank you so much for tuning in. If my 993 video revved your engine, slam into that like button like you're the piano man after 13 beers, and hit subscribe for more crappy car content from a guy who's not even that great of a gun reviewer. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Take care.